What up, dudes? It's Gaz, and welcome back to the Warframe video. So, we have the new meta Arcane farm for you today after the Nekros Hydroid bug fix, nerf, whatever you want to call it, where they don't work on Void Angels. We got the next best thing today, and if you look at the rates we're getting Arcanes at, you could argue this is basically just as good as Nekros Angel mode. So, before we get into it, make sure you're subbing and all that stuff to the channel. Really appreciate the support. And make sure the live stream channel as well. I might be live tonight. I don't know. We've been streaming a lot lately and I'm a little bit tired, but we might stream anyway just to finish off that mod drop booster, which is what this farm will be about today. Alright, so meta Arcane farm for Zariman. Now this is only going to drop Arcanes that come from the new DLC or update or whatever, Angels of Zariman. So with this method, you will be getting about... It's RNG, but we got 51 Arcanes in 61 minutes. And a lot of those are Arcanes that you might not have maxed out already, such as, Emergence Dissapate, that one that just became really popular overnight, which is going to give you energy back. And I've sold multiple sets of them for over 1,000 plat each, so there's that. And there's also going to be things like Molt Vigor, giving you, I think, increased power strength and stuff like that. So you want to potentially get these. And here's how the farm's going to work. We are doing the Steel Path Void Cascade. That might be, honestly, that might be too hard for most people that just heard me say that, because this is a for real game mode right here. You need to have good operator damage, you need to have good weapon damage, you need to be able to stay alive, which is actually harder than it might seem, and there's these new Grineer units that have nullifier bubbles. We're talking about some serious gear checks here, and this is going to be the best place to farm it. The reason these Arcanes, it's the best to farm the Arcanes on Steel Path Void Cascade is for a multitude of reasons. One of them being that you can get more than one Arcane per mission reliably, because if you were to go do an exterminate mission like a Void Angel hunt like we were doing before, only one Void Angel will spawn per mission, so you need to finish the exterminate after you kill the Void Angel and to rinse and repeat. For this, we're actually getting Arcane drops from the Thrax units. In Cascade mode, the way it works is basically you find these exolyzer things, you jump on top of them, there's these void tears on them, close all the void tears, and that's actually going to make the Thrax spawn. Once the Thrax spawns, just kill them, and they have a chance to drop an Arcane. The reason we're doing this on the Steel Path, well, for one, it's to get Steel Essence and Steel Path Arcanes from the Acolytes, but the other reason is that the Steel Path has a built-in mod drop booster. And these Arcanes that these guys drop are in the code as mods. So what we want to do is we want to go to the Zariman ship, turn the Steel Path on. As you can see, 100% chance mod drop booster. And the mission's called Tuvil Commons. Now you need to be really careful here because this mission switches between Grineer and Corpus. And since you're on the Steel Path, your builds actually do matter to some degree. Additionally, those Thrax guys we were just talking about that you summon after you start the Exolyzer, they are factionless, it seems. So your build has to not only be good against the faction you're fighting against, but also be good against the neutral faction Thrax units. Now, thankfully, I want to have some methods that you can just, brute force them anyway, even without having to mod specifically for them. But, yeah, you're going to probably want to armor strip these guys. You're going to probably want to bring, some of your most powerful gear in the entire game. So, yeah, it's kind of fun to talk about how, all these requirements are being asked of you to get the new loot. So I do really appreciate that. We're going to go over all the builds I was utilizing in farming last couple days. To put the cherry on top of all this good mod drop booster stuff, you're also going to do your sortie every day. This mod drop booster I got from the sortie is also going to double mod drop chance as well, which will stack with the Steel Path, making it where we have the highest chance possible to get as many Arcanes as we can from the Steel Path Cascade. Now you might be like, oh, Steel Path Armageddon seems pretty good. Steel Path Armageddon is not good. Not only is the game mode very buggy, but the Void Angels that spawn there have a reduced drop rate of Arcanes compared to an Angel you'd find in a normal mission like an Exterminate or not a Dorma Zone, or like a Mobile Defense. So, yeah. Steel Path Armageddon, I feel like it's just removed from the game, but it's whatever. So, let's go over things you can use if you want to do this hardcore gear check. Because really, guys, you're going to need to, you're going to need to take all the things that we've been teaching you over all these years and utilize them all at the same time, basically. Bring your hardest hitting stuff, bring your shield gating, bring your condition overload. We're about to go in on the gear, okay? So let's just get some more gameplay up here and we can talk about it. Okay, so as far as like weapons you want to bring here, a good loadout I've found is, so you want to bring a frame that's going to either remove enemy armor, buff weapons, or both, while also being survivable. So frames like Ash Prime, Saryn Prime, those have been my two main go-tos here, because Saryn can, I've replaced her 4 with Roar for ridiculous amounts of damage. And also we bought Unairu Focus School. Unairu Focus School now, it actually got buffed a lot. Like I'm probably gonna do a video like going fully over all the things Unairu can do now, because Unairu has a lot going for it, and I didn't even read half that stuff. It can do a lot now. So Unairu Focus School is gonna fully remove the Thrax's armor in 1 button press. So that's really good, because what you can do is that you go into Unairu, full strip armor. You can use the Cedo shotgun, which is going to condition overload proc them with like viral, heat, all this stuff, make them have lots of procs, and then you can use a strong melee weapon. So if you got the Praedos from doing the Incarnon weapons, that's strong enough to do this. I did at like level 1000 plus with the Praedos on the Steel Path. Also, heavy attack weapons are surprisingly good. I actually read the, I read last night that Condition Overload does work on heavy attacks. The only one that I tested on, it was the one it was bugged on. The Glaive Prime, Condition Overload does not work on heavy attacks for that, but on weapons like the Pennant, the Karst Prime, like those types of weapons. Let's get to a different mission in here. See the Pennant right here? If you're playing, the mission rotates between Corpus and Grenier. If you're playing Saryn, her 3rd ability gives you guaranteed Toxin, and you will one-shot like every Corpus you see. So that's something you could do as well. Now see, Armor Strip's going to make it really good when the Thrax is spawning at relatively high levels. This is the Steel Path, so they have like doubled health and all that stuff. So let's go over some weapons, builds, and maybe even operator stuff you can utilize here. So of course, it's up to you. Whatever you have good gear for is what you should go for, but I'm going to show you a loadout that you can use on basically anyone. So let's get a Condition Overload weapon. So let's see, pick a decent one. You can make this work on basically anyone. So let's just go with, yeah, the Venka Prime. Should be good enough. I've got a Toxin Riven, but we can make it work. So let's go over the whole loadout here. So on Saryn herself, we are just basically focusing on buffing and survivability. So Roar here, in replacement of our 4, you're mostly focusing on single target big damage here, so we don't need her 4 to like melt everything. That's more of like a normal mission build. So weapon buffing here, weapon buffing with her 3 as well. We got 69% damage here, 69% damage here, nice, nice. And also survivability. If you want to watch my video on shield getting with Molt from a couple like last week, I will link that in the description. But Molt will keep you alive when these guys are like just attacking with scythes, shooting in the back with like a rocket launcher. This is going to help you shield gate and draw enemy fire. So very, very good. And hilariously enough, we're not even using spores. If you wanted to use spores for something, maybe you could throw on Venom Dose for increased damage further. But it's all about just killing enemies and surviving here. Since we're on Unairu Focus Tree, we can take off Prime Sure-Footed for some more power strength up here. Any X-List mod will do. And then we've got Energize for giving us our energy back, and Aegis for permanent shield gating. 3% of the time works every time. So that's what you could do on the frame. I'll show an Ash build. Also, Wisp is really good for this too, moving from point to point. And then the Cedo shotgun. Now, I do have a Riven here, so keep that in mind. It's just something you could work towards potentially. But we're not using this thing for DPS. We're using this thing to condition overload proc. We've got status mods to give us increased status chance. So it's going to be lots and lots of viral, lots and lots of heat procs. And then we've got status duration, so our viral procs last longer. And multi-shot, so more glaives fly out and more status procs are going out. Multi-shot Riven to give you even more multi-shot. They will be viral proc beyond belief with all these status procs from the Cedo. So primary dexterity is going to give us increased combo duration for our melee. Lets us run Unairu and not run out of combo all the time. Very, very helpful. And then as far as the secondary, you can run the Latum for DPS if you want to. The Latum is pretty powerful and can hold up for a while. There's a video on that in the description as well. But we're running the Epitaph for now just for more conditional overload procking. And some Augur mods for more shield gating. So dexterity here as well. We will have 20-second duration on our combo if we run both of these. And a good Epitaph Riven, even more multi-shot. You just want to get those procs out as quickly as possible, guys. I swapped to a random melee here just to show you how easy this is to do. Since we're going to be using full armor strip, you can go for like a viral build if you wanted to, because it's good against unarmored enemies. But I'm going to just go for Slash and Toxin like I usually do. If it's Corpus, you can switch this to Bane the Corpus. But remember, this probably isn't working against the Thrax, so don't overthink it. Just if you forget your Bane mod, like, oh well, like, hopefully you have a good mod in that slot that's not the Bane mod. And yeah, just standard melee stuff. Melee actually is pretty good for clearing out ads still. And then as we're talking about Unairu, now we're going to go over the amp a little bit here too, because the amp is important. But for Unairu specifically, the most important nodes are Poise to give you immunity to knockdowns, Caustic Strike, giving a full armor strip when you press one button. Very good against the Thrax that has their Steel Path armor and all that type of stuff. Unairu Wisp. Now, once the Thrax dies, you are going to need to do operator damage to them to kill the Spectral form. And Unairu Wisp will give you increased operator amp damage. So that's pretty good. Just make sure you cast your Caustic Strike and pick it up. And then if you're fighting Corpus specifically, Magnetic Flare is going to remove all enemy shields, which is really good too if you're running like a Toxin build. And then there's some other things too. We'll have a full video on Unairu going forward, but for now, just mostly armor and shield strip, and then knockdown immunity. So as far as the amp, you want some big DPS to take out those big boy Thrax on the Steel Path. They will eventually get... The nice thing about Void Cascade is that you can actually just... It doesn't matter if you actually fail. Like, let's say you go on like a half hour and it's like, okay, we lost an Exilizer or whatever. The Thrax is like tanky. I can't kill him. If you fail the mission, you don't lose your loot. All you have to do is get to extraction and you keep all your arcanes. So it is not as stressful as it seems. As long as you can keep up with killing stuff, you will be getting good arcanes, okay? Speaking of good arcanes, here's this new one right here, Emergence Dissapate. So basically what it does is when you are going to Void Sling, instead you push left click or trigger button, and it will not Void Sling. It will make energy orbs come out of the enemies near that Void Sling you were targeting. That's the really, really brief description of it. We'll have a full video on this going next week, but yeah, this is a good one. I've been selling these. I sold 2 sets for over 1,000 plat, and I don't think those people were dumb that bought it, because this is a very, very good arcane. Probably the best arcane in the update, and that's probably why you want to farm this, is to get this arcane from this Steel Path Void Cascade. So yeah, that one, I've replaced Magus Repair with this. Magus Lockdown still really good when you're surrounded by high-level ads that are going to like destroy you, so I'm still running this. Remember, the Thrax do spawn with Overguards. This will not stun the Thrax right away. You are going to need to like basically roll and guard the second that Thrax spawns and remove his Overguard, and then you can Magus Lockdown him. Also, keep in mind, you can Magus Lockdown stun the Thrax Ghost form. That is, they don't have Overguard in that. And then our arcane of choice that we have for the amp is Virtuous Strike. On crit, you get increased crit damage. You can basically go for any of these. Eternal Eradicate's pretty good. Virtuous Shadow's still pretty good. Whatever you want to run, guys. I've got Virtuous Strike because we're running a very high crit chance amp, the 777. That's going to be parts are Clamora, Propa, and Certus. You can also go for the Replock, Propa, Certus, or whatever. Like, you definitely do want to have high DPS, though. Those Void Tears that appear in the Cascade mission, you are going to want to either shoot them with your amp or Void Dash through them. That's basically the 2 main ways to get to them. And if you have a longer range and, like, rapid fire Prism, like the Clamora or maybe even the Lega, that's going to be a good choice. Now, I am going to definitely recommend that you use the Propa here. I tried a couple other scaffolds, and, man, the Propa is just... It is so good. Like we're talking like over 1 million damage with the Propa on these Thrax Spectral forms with no Void Strike. So the Propa is the best. It is the best. I tried the Glaive Launcher. I feel like I didn't even have a scaffold. So go Propa. No matter what prison you go, just go Propa, guys. You will not regret it. These guys have so much health. It's like the tankiest Vomit you've ever seen. You need big damage. Now, you could run Void Strike, like I said, but I want to use Unairu. I don't want to have to run Prime Foot. I want to be able to fully strip enemy armor. If you don't use Unairu, you're going to want to use something like Ashe, like I said. Ashe is going to fully strip enemy armor with Seeking Shuriken. You could run Wisp with like Seeking Shuriken Helminth. You could run Argonac, Metal Auger, Dagger stuff. Like it's up to you. You have lots of choices, but like you really need to utilize some of the most powerful stuff in the game, straight up. Like, you do. And that's actually good. I like that a lot. So when an arcane does drop from an enemy, they will be on the loot radar as a mod. That's how you know the mod drop booster is working. If you see Emergence Dissapate drop, make sure you mark it for your teammates because that's the valuable one. The other ones are probably like 2 plat at this point because, I don't know, this is like the most fun thing to do in the update now that they nerf the Void Angel thing with Nekros. So yeah, hopefully I don't nerf this because this is the other thing I'm having fun with right now. And I don't think this will get nerfed because the main crux of this is the mod drop booster. Like 51 Arcanes in an hour is pretty good. And you got to keep in mind that we were counting like the Steel Path Arcanes in that count as well. So that's, that's including primary Merciless, secondary Deadhead, all that. And you get Steel Essence. And this is a good Steel Essence farm. It's fun. It's a good gear check for your weapons. It's a good operator gear check and focus gear check too. So if you like gear checks, look no further than this mission. Now, I don't know if I mentioned this already in the video, but this is very, very important. If you have a mod drop booster, or if someone on your team has a mod drop booster, and you want to farm Arcanes from here, do not launch the mission from the city. If you launch this Steel Path mission from the city, the mod drop booster will not properly work. So every time you reset the farm more, let's say you finish the mission, you're like, okay, I'm done, let's go back to orbit. I have to go do this trade. I gotta go sell this guy his Arcane for 1,000 plat. Let's extract. Once you complete the mission, go back to space. Even if you're farming with the same people, go back to space and re-invite them. So your mod drop booster is working, okay? You will definitely notice if it's not working because you're not going to see anywhere near as many Arcanes. So let's go over a couple more builds here before we call it a video. And yeah, guys, I am doing this on stream as well. I've been doing this probably for about like 30 hours in like the last week, at least. Maybe not 30, more like 25, but I've been doing this a lot. So let's show an Ash build. Now, remember, if you're on Ash, you are invisible, so you can't actually look at your fashion frame, but I think it will be okay. So if you want to do the Red Death Ash build we did from a couple weeks ago, I've tried that. That's pretty good. It will one-shot the Thrax. But yeah, basically what you want to do, and we actually have Savage Silence on here too. Savage Silence with Blade Storm is pretty good against the Thrax. It's not going to guarantee one-shot them. Maybe put some more power strength on it would, but basically Ashes 4 counts as a finisher, and Savage Silence gives you increased finisher damage on enemies affected by the Silence ability from Banshee. So 532% increased finisher damage with our amount of power strength, full armor strip from the Seeking Shuriken augment mod. We don't need to run Unairu. You can run Zariman or Manarai on Ash or whatever else you want to run. And yeah, you'll be doing big deeps, and you'll be able to solo Thrax no problem. The rest of it is just basically increasing your duration, getting some rolling guard. If you are not a rolling guard, Decaying Dragon Key Shieldgate Cheeser like I was stubbornly one for over a year. Like Anaro's about to get dumpstered. Okay, you bring this to your Anaro's here, he's gonna get destroyed. You need to also be very aware of the playstyle of Void Cascade. If you go into these Void Tear bubbles as your frame, you will get instantly nullified. So you need to be careful. Don't jump in there as the frame. Jump in there as your operator, or you're gonna get all your abilities turned off. If you're playing that Saryn build I showed you with Roar and like Toxic Lash, you will need to be constantly recasting that, and you don't want to do that because that's a big waste of energy. That's a big waste of time. You're just sitting there recasting stuff while the Thrax is slicing with his scythe. So yeah, this is a gear check. This is a giganto gear check. So if you don't want to do this, maybe Exterminate would be more up your alley if this is too hard for you. Okay. But yeah, once the Thrax are armor stripped, Viral is great against them. If they're not armor stripped, Corrosive is good against them, but you should be armor stripping them since they have so much armor. And yeah, basically switch your Bane mod for whatever faction you're fighting. This Riven for the Praedos has made it much more appealing, and I have been enjoying the Praedos more after this Riven. Still, probably not as good as the Cronin Prime, but it looks cooler than the Cronin Prime, so that is important. Alright, so that's Ash and Saryn. We'll quickly show Wisp. I don't have a very serious Wisp build for this, but what you could do is just run like Eclipse Wisp, be permanently invisible while jumping around. You could even maybe run Exodia Contagion or the Glaive Prime to just like bombard the Thrax as soon as it spawns in. You put on Eclipse, you Breach Surge them once their Overguard's gone, hit them with the Glaive Prime, they should be dead after that. Hit them with Exodia Contagion, they should be dead after that. Just bring your most powerful meta stuff. The Kuva Brahma will be fine actually for a while too, just you need to make sure you got like your best builds on here, okay? Alright guys, hope you found the video helpful. Just high power strength basically on Wisp, nothing too special. Rolling guard, you basically need to be a rolling guard Shieldgate Cheeser to play this mission. Yeah, we'll see if they end up nerfing anything. Yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Go out and farm. I'll be probably live later tonight doing this, so if you want to farm this and you have I have a mod drop booster for how many more hours? I've got a mod drop booster for 1 day, 3 hours. So yeah, I'll probably be farming this some more tonight, get another Emergence Dissapate set to sell. Yeah, they are very good. We'll expect a full video on Emergence Dissapate later this week with some other stuff in as well, giving more synergy. It's really strong and powerful, and I highly recommend it. Not as a replacement to Energize, as a complement to Energize. So, I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for all the support, and yeah, go have fun playing the Steel Path Void Cascade. I actually really enjoy it. Bye, guys.